Hello my friends, how are you today? I hope you're having an awesome day. So I thought I would do a video and talk a little bit about, well, how we came to this place and why, how, all that. Tell you a little bit about myself. I'm new to YouTube, as you can see, and I just thought, you know what? If I'm going to grow this YouTube channel, I best let my friends know who I am and what I'm about. So my name is Tammy Sousa, and welcome to the Homemade and Homegrown brand new channel. So I wanted to just share with you, like I said, how we got here, why we came, things like that. So we originally came from Ontario in Canada. We're here located in New Brunswick, Canada, but we came from Ontario. My husband was a, well, I don't want to say a workaholic, but forced to be a workaholic in order to live in Ontario because the cost of living is just crazy there. So we had come down one year for my grandmother's birthday. And that was probably, 20 years ago at the time. Maybe, yeah, about 20 years ago, maybe 18, 19. But we had come down for my grandmother's birthday. And she had us stay at the farmhouse, which is actually the next house over from this place. So I'm not far from where I grew up as a kid. I actually I used to hang out with the family, the kids that lived in this house. Still friends with them. So that was pretty interesting when we did get the house. But anyway, I don't want to go too fast forward here. So what happened was my husband Joe, he really liked the area. Now he's Portuguese, and his family is from Santa Maria in the Azores. There's about 9 islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and that's the Azores, and that's where his family has come from and moved to Canada back in I think it was back in 1969, I think it was. But anyway, so he was born and raised in Ontario, Canada, and anyway, he said that this area reminded him of back where his parents were from. And so he actually, he fell in love with this area and could see where I came from growing up as a little country girl. So, tomboyish, I would call it. But anyway, so what happened was we went back to Ontario, and we kind of talked about it here and there over the years, over those years, up to about 13 years ago, before we actually decided to come here. So anyway, we had some friends that were in the military, and they were getting stationed up in Gagetown here, and from out west in Alberta. And so they had come down to visit us in Ontario, and they got talking to us. And they said, well, hey, why don't you consider going back home? So all the talk about the change of lifestyle, and what I mean by that is from the rat race, hustle bustle, busy all the time in Ontario to a more relaxed atmosphere. Nothing compared to the amount of stress and anxieties and uncertainty that was going on up there in Ontario, and debt was the biggest concern that we had. And we just felt that there'd be no way we would get out of the situation that we were in unless we did a dramatic move in our life. So fast forward, that summer when they had come down, we had also came down for another birthday for my grandmother, and she was turning 90, and we were also kind of having a bit of a family reunion. with that. And so when we came down, it really, really struck a chord with, mostly with my husband. I wasn't too sure about moving down yet, because we were trying to, not only, with this whole debt and everything else, but we were still trying to create some type of a nest egg so we could retire. And if we were to retire, I thought this would be the best area to retire. So when we had come down for that trip, we had decided, you know what, let's consider it even more, kind of look around while we were here about with the houses. And I had noticed that this place was up for sale. With it being the next house up from my grandparents, I knew the house. I knew who owned it, who looked after it. We went back to Ontario after the holiday was up and started inquiring about the house. So fast forward, obviously we purchased the house. But so first of all, I should go back and say that when we first came down for the birthday, that was in June of 2007. July, we put the house up for sale in Ontario, and it was sold in less than 24 hours. We couldn't believe it. It didn't even make it to the market before we had an offer in. Gave the offer. The offer was taken. They accepted. And that was the end of July. August 21st was the day we moved in. So that's how fast everything progressed. I couldn't believe it. So here we are in the house, knowing we had some work to do, but we knew that had we stayed in Ontario, there would have been no way we would have been able to purchase any acreage or even just a small hobby farm, because they were in the millions. That people were asking for, like, an acre of land in Ontario at that time was about $150,000 to $200,000. And so at that, the situation that we were in, there'd be no way. We wanted to live out in the country, the outskirts of town. Chickens. The outskirts of town, there was no way. The cost of the houses and the market was crazy. This property is actually, let me just kind of do a little scan for you. But this property is 3 acres. And the house is about 1,800 square feet living space. Put you down so I don't make you fall. So we've got 3 acreage, just short. It's like 2.93 acres or something like that. But it was enough for us to know that if we were going to create a small hobby farm, we were okay. 3 acres was pretty good. And so, yeah, we've been doing work over the years. So 2007. So that winter, we had a family member pass away, which was my mother. She came down for Christmas. She arrived December 24th, 2007. And she did have some health issues. We just didn't know the extent of how bad it was. She was diagnosed with COPD, which is issues with your lungs. She already had hypertension, high blood pressure, so she had some health issues. Anyway, she come down, Mom and Dad come down the 24th. They got here the 24th of December, 2007. December 26th, 2 days later, she suddenly passed away and had a massive heart attack. So that was pretty rough, especially for me, because her and I were just, like, we were so close. And the day before she had passed away, we were making plans for Mom and Dad to move, because they were in Ontario, and they were born and raised here. So we were making plans on the computer, looking up mobile homes that we could purchase and plop plop it down here on the land and get Mom and Dad back home. And she was really excited about coming home. But God had other plans, and it's been a rough go, especially for me. I've had a rough go without her for the past 13 years, and so fast forward a few years after, about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I thought I could start a garden and kind of, get myself out of that space that I was in. But it wasn't working out as well as I thought it would. So I gave up. Didn't take long. It was one season and I quit. We did have some egg layers, so we kept those. And we tried having some meat kings, our meat chickens. And we had an animal, a weasel, actually come in and killed all them off. We had 2 or 3 left. Yeah, they wiped them right out. I couldn't believe it. So that was a downer as well. We didn't prepare well enough, and it's our fault. So I own that. We were thinking in New Brunswick for the economy. It's never really been it's never changed. It's always been low income. We were contemplating on going back because of finances. But, boy, I'm getting really personal, aren't I? But anyways, that's okay. Be transparent, right? So, we put the house up for sale. My husband went back up to Ontario and worked while I stayed behind to sell the house. I couldn't wait. At the time, my emotions was I couldn't wait to get out of here. I just felt like there was nothing here for me. Nothing here for the kids. No opportunities, as much as there was in Ontario. I'm thinking the kids are going to get out of school, they're going to graduate. Even if they did go to college, the opportunities for whatever they end up studying were very slim to none here. So I really wanted the kids to have a good start after they graduated and things like that. So these are the thoughts that were going through our heads, was to just get out of here for the kids and for us, because like I said, not having my mother was huge. And I just didn't think there was nothing left here for me after the plans that we had made weren't gonna come about. So anyway, it is what it is, right? So then there was a family dynamic that happened. I won't get into that, but it ended up bringing my husband back here. So we took the house off the market, and I wasn't impressed. I was pretty upset that we were in the position that we were in. But just a minute. But again, it is what it is. So we had decided, obviously, to stay. And at that time, I'm a faith person, so I really started to plug into my faith and really start asking God, did this happen as your way of saying, I want you to stay? Is that your will for us? Is for us to stay here? And so I pursued that. And over time, I really started feeling like God was saying, yes, this is where I want you to stay. While that was going on, my eyes started opening to possibilities, I guess, and the things of God and what He wanted me to do. Got a better job offer. Not only a better job offer, but he also got benefits, health benefits added with his pay. So that was huge for us too, because we still had the kids at home. They needed health care, they needed dental, they needed glasses, vision care, things like that. We all did. So that was being increased. And then because of all the positives that were happening, anyway, we noticed that by us deciding to stay and God really working with us, And he just started opening up our eyes to everything. And now today, fast forward to today, I'm grateful. So back in the winter of 2019, I started thinking, you know what, I'm really gonna reconsider the whole gardening thing. I loved it as a kid. I loved helping my grandfather out in the garden, and you know, like my aunt said to me this past summer that, boy, Granddad would sure be proud of his now, because this was all he did. He loved gardening, and he loved to help people and things like that. So that was his nature. And anyways, so that made me feel good. So anyway, back in winter of 2019, I started really watching YouTubers and researching the gardening and things like that. And our soil was the biggest problem that we had, because the soil here is more clay and rocky. And so before, I didn't know how to deal with that. And even though I put in, you know, the typical manure and things like that to beef up the soil, it just didn't seem to work. Well, YouTube had really was a great tool for me to watch fellow YouTubers. And of course I wasn't YouTubing at the time, so but I was getting all my info from YouTube and of course Google, and you look up all those things. And I thought, you know what, and this is long before COVID even started, or we had ever heard of COVID. So I was getting excited come spring that I was going to really make it happen. And this time I was going to do it my way, which means before, when we did it before, my husband, like he's an old schooler, so, which is fine. And I wanted garden boxes. I wanted, you know, just a nice fenced in area. I wanted greenhouse. I wanted all the things, right? So I went ahead, and spring of 2020, just before we heard anything about COVID, I had ordered all the materials that I was going to need. I had ordered some soil that I was going to need. Yeah, all the gardening tools and things like that. And I have an awesome, the #1 best neighbor in the entire world. He was so helpful. So I asked him to come down with his tractor and till up the yard for me, the ground for me. And he, no problem, he did that. I'm going to be investing in a tractor eventually. But when you've got neighbors who are willing to help out, you can't beat that, right? So anyway, that's what he did for me. So spring came. Then we're told COVID's happening. And so I really got into, okay, what's this going to mean for our food? The food, is there going to be a food shortage? So I started researching on farmers, local farmers around here, and finding out, you know, what they were thinking. I wanted to find out who sells fresh beef, because I wanted to make sure that I had access to that. Chickens, things like that. But then I was like, you know what? I can do my own chickens. I did it before, and I can do it again. Let's just prepare properly. So that's what we did. So at the beginning of the season, I went to our local feed store, and they place orders for chicks. So I went there, and I had ordered, what was it? First I ordered 6 or 8. 8. First I ordered 8 egg layers, and we had lost 1, so we were down to 7. And they have a day where people who don't pick up their chicks from the orders, they'll contact previous customers to find out if we want to take them. So I took 4 more, and so now we have 11 egg layers. And also we had ordered what was it, eight Meat Kings. Ordered 8 of those, and 2 of them had died prematurely. So the count was 6. So of course I'm going on YouTube and I'm trying to figure out, okay, are we going to process our own chickens? And I started learning about how to do it. And so I decided, yeah, we're going to do it. But the first 6 that we had, my friend, she also had chickens that lives up the road, and she sends her chickens to a processor. And so she had a small order, and she asked if I would add mine to her order. So I said, sure. So the first 6 went to a butcher. And at that time, things started getting pretty sketchy there with COVID and things like that. I said to my husband, I'm getting more Meat Kings. He says, you're kidding. So I'm going to give you a little backstory here. He had no idea where my mindset was with this COVID and the potential things that could happen. Precisely, food shortages. So at the time, I didn't share with him. I didn't want him to think that I was worried or whatever, but I just wanted to be prepared. So I started watching preppers on YouTube. And so I had ordered 20, no, sorry, what was it? I had ordered 20. 20 chicks and for Meat Kings. And my husband thought I was off my rocker. I know he did. But I still, again, didn't say anything. I just said I want us to put some meat in the freezer. That's all he needed to know, so that's all I told him. So that's what we did. I got him to make me a plucker. We went online, of course, and checked to see how people made homemade pluckers. So we made one of those. I ordered a stainless steel working table to work from that. Yeah, just got all the things that I was going to need for processing my own chickens. And so we raised them. That was July, and then most people process them when they're about 8 or 9 weeks old. These guys were 10, and they were big. That last probably week and a half before we did finally get a chance to process them after our Canadian Thanksgiving in October. They were, I think they were about 6 or 7 pounds. So, but I got nothing but men. I'm the only woman in the house, so I've got 4 men living at the house, and it takes a lot to feed them. So anyway, set up an area at the foot of the property here and set it all up so that we could do all the processing there. It went well. It went better than I expected, considering for the first time that we were processing, and everything went perfect. Couldn't ask for a better and more humane way. Most people like say, how could you raise something and then kill it and things like that. And that's the part that nobody likes to do. That raises their own food. That's the worst part that has to happen, is taking a life. Well, and of course everybody knows in order for a life to live, when it comes to eating meat, a life has to go. But before we did it, and of course because I'm a faith person, I thanked God for the opportunity to raise them. I knew I had given them a really good life. They had this whole area was all for them. They could come and go in and out of their coop. A lot of it was grass fed, and I didn't do any processed food for them or anything like that. It was just pure organic. And so I knew that they had a really good life. So I was happy about that. I was proud that I given them a good life, considering when you can go online and you see the meat processing plants where they don't even see the light of day ever, and it's so, like, they get 1 square little foot space in a barn. No, that's no life. And they say, you know, chickens, they don't know any better and all that stuff, but I don't know. I'm an animal lover, and I think that all animals have feelings. And they do. I don't care what anybody says. They do have feelings. So anyway, I was grateful and proud that we were able to do what we did and give them a decent life. And I didn't fret over it too much. It had to happen. So I taught my husband how to do it, and I did the cleaning. So, and we bagged them together and put them in the freezer. So it was a good sight to see in your freezer, you know, 20 chickens, or 26 because of the 6 before. But yeah, we had 26 chickens in our freezer, and it felt good. So, and the garden was doing good. The garden, I had done everything that I was supposed to do. The only thing that I had trouble with this year was my peppers. That didn't go good at all. They had great leaves and stalk and everything, but the actual fruit on them, yeah, it didn't. So I decided actually to take one of the strongest ones, and I brought it in the house, and I've been trying to care for it inside the house, and it's still not doing good. So I don't know if it's the what do they call it? The breed or whatever. But it's not even doing good inside the house. So I don't know. So I'm gonna do quite a lot of research. I have been ever since this winter started. I've been checking out how to grow peppers, especially in our short and not so warm climate. In the summer, we don't get usually any higher than 30 degrees Celsius. If that, maybe 32, 30. On a good day, we could get as high as 35. But that's pretty rare. But we have a short growing season, meaning I have to start, according to what I have here, I've got my whole plans for this year all laid out now. But according to indoor planting, I'm going to have to start planting March 15th indoors, and then I can't transplant out into my garden till after May 2-4 weekend. So frost is usually the end of September. We start seeing around the 25th of September our first frost warning. So we don't have much time in my area to grow, and so we really got to be strategic on how to do it. So I've been researching that as well. So yeah, that's kind of like an introductory of who I am, where we came from, why we're here, and why we're staying. And what we're up against when it comes to gardening and processing our food and things like that. So the plans that I have for this year, I'm really excited. I can't wait. We have decided to expand our garden. So I'm going to get my neighbor to come down and clean out a new area. So we're going to break some ground there. I'll take you along with me for that day. I've got a lot of projects, small projects, building projects, fixing projects, things like that need to happen this year. So I'll take you along with me for those. There's also a plan of more chickens, and for both layers and meat kings. So we're gonna build a bigger coop for my egg layers, and we're gonna use this coop here that's behind me, that little red thing there. We're gonna use that as my brooder house and get some, I'm gonna get a rooster so that they can naturally have babies for me. But we're gonna use that as the brooder house. And what I've been told is that it's very rare out of a flock of, say, 10 birds, maybe one or two will become brooders. And I've noticed that I've got 4 that are actually not liking me when I go to take the eggs. And so when they see me coming, they actually run to the eggs and sit on them and force, like, pecking at me, so that when I go to take the egg, they're not having it. So it's quite funny. But anyway, so we got that. What else do we got here? We've got plans for, yes. So I've got to do some fencing around the area, especially so that the chickens don't go over, because I let my egg layers just roam, and they get the run of the property. So, but they found a way to get over to my neighbor's area, and we don't want that. So we're going to fence in that area so they can't cross over. There's also going to be a, well, I want some shelves and things like that for my greenhouse. I'm going to start I've got a little sun porch on the other side of the house. And so I've got a table laid out, and I'll be getting my seeds ready in there first before they come out to the greenhouse and before they get into the garden. By the time they get there, then it'll be probably June. So I've got from June until September to get as much growth, vegetable growth, as possible. This year last year we didn't do potatoes, but this year one of the plots, there's going to be 2 new garden plots that are going to be opened up, and one of them is just going to be specifically potatoes. We weren't eating a whole lot of potatoes because we were following a pretty strict diet, low carb diet. So, but again, COVID, it's uncertainty, so I'm really looking at things due to COVID and what the possibilities are for food shortage. So we're going to open up 2 areas there. What else are we going to do? Canning. So something that, excuse me, I was never taught how to do was can and like preserve my foods. I've never been, I've never been taught how to make preservatives, so pickles and jams and things like that. So you'll be coming along with me on that journey. And I want all you pros to not hesitate in giving me your tips. So make sure that you comment below and tell me. I had to move down in the shed. It was getting kind of cold. But anyway, as I was saying, you pros out there, please, if you see me doing something that could be a whole lot easier than how I'm doing it, make sure you tell me and comment below, and just give me all your tips and all your love and all your support, because I'm going to need it. This girl was never taught how to do any of this stuff, and what I love about the things of the internet is that you can go online and find people who do it on a regular basis and be taught how to do it. So if you're willing to learn like I am, I think anybody can do it. So one other project that we're going to be doing is preparing our cellar. So the previous owners, they had an area down underneath the house, which is about a 5-foot space, 5-foot high space, and that's just enough for me because I'm 5'2". But anyway, it looked like they had an area where they used to store food. So I'm going to add a video to me showing you around down there. So I'll do that right now. Okay, so this is our crawl space that we have underneath the house. And we're going to do some work under here. Oh, sorry, it's kind of dark there. But we're going to do some work here. It looks like it used to be when we bought this house 13 years ago. It looks like she did use it as a cellar, because we came down and we found this area here. Let me find the light here. There we go. So we came down here and we found, oh, it's too dark. Shoot. Let's see. Anyway, there's a room inside here, and she had some shelves and things like that. And then I bought some shelves, so we're going to fix it all up so that I've got an area to store my food for the winter. My husband had to fix the outside door. Sorry about the lack of light. Probably moving too slow too, or too fast, I mean. But he had to fix this outdoor, this exit. And yeah, so we got a steel door, and he reinforced the frame. And so our house is very old. This old part here with all the rock and stone is actually from the 1800s. We went back as far as 1878. So over the years they added to the house different levels. So now we're a 2-story farmhouse. So yeah, it's kind of creepy down here, but so I got to clean all the, look at the cobwebs around our heating system. So we are oil, water-based heating in this old house. We haven't upgraded it yet. That's for mostly emergencies, but it is also what heats up our water. It's about 5 feet, maybe 5.5 feet high. And it's like, as you can see, it's all, this is the dirt and rock. So the foundation is only partial foundation. The rest is just, the house is sitting on solid rock. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to bring you upstairs. Okay, so this is the other side of the door coming out from the crawl space underneath the house. And as you can see, there's some damage that happened. One of the side walls, concrete walls, has caved in. So we have to get in there and repair that, or fix that, I mean. Let's go down. Okay, so right here is the entry. So we've got quite a lot of work having to fix this. So that's going to be one of the projects that we have to do. But there's going to be some repairs that's going to happen before I can store anything. So as you saw in the video, there's a few things that we need to do. So I can't wait to get that going. That's going to be one of the, probably the biggest projects, besides a bigger chicken coop and the fencing like the fencing around the area. So yeah, that's going to be a task right there. Putting supports and fixing the fixing like the side walls and things like that. So we're going to be doing that. And also I kind of made a list here of all the things that, well, I've got my list of 2021 plants. And actually, I just ordered my cow, so I'm going to actually be picking that up tomorrow. And I'll get some footage of that, me going to pick up my beef. I started out with a quarter cow, and that's going to be about 160 pounds, I think, of different cuts. So it's just going to give me an idea of what a quarter cow looks like, and probably after that I'll see what a half a cow is, and then probably a full cow. So we'll see. We got to get some what else do we got to get? Oh, we're gonna make some storage boxes for the potatoes to go down into the crawl space or cellar, whatever you want to call it. We were contemplating actually on getting pigs. Not completely sure yet, because that is another step. But I think this year I'm just going to kind of stick to more chickens and really pay attention to my garden. Because for me, I think just getting started in this, I don't want to get too overwhelmed, but I do want to definitely focus on the garden and getting as much food grown as possible. So I think that's it. I think I've kept you long enough. So I want to thank you for coming to visit me today and listening to me ramble on. But I'm just really excited. I'm excited for this next chapter in our lives, and to see what 2021 deals out to all of us. I'm just praying for all my friends that it's going to be a safe year, and that God continues to protect us and provide our needs. He knows what's going on. He sees what's happening. And I just know that I've got somebody to trust, and that is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If you don't know Him, I highly suggest that you get to know Him. Ask Him to come into your heart, and really, it's a life-changing moment when He moves in, and you'll never regret it. He's never been unfaithful to me. I've never been disappointed. You know, when it comes to the good in my life, I know it comes from Him. He's not the one. There may be disappointing moments and situations, but I know that He isn't the one that's causing my disappointment. So that's what I mean. But anyway, God bless. And I really, again, I thank you, friends, for coming to visit me. And we'll see you in the next video. You know what to do. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell. And share me with all your friends. And hopefully we'll grow this channel together. That is my hope and prayer, is that we grow together. Okay? So God bless. Thank you again. And we'll see you later.